we're in such an era of cost cutting right now. So how do you, foster these principles or enable these principles in an era of, I'm thinking, for example, Dow and DuPont, they merge, splitting into 3 companies. There's going to be tremendous cost cutting, efficiencies. How do you put these tools in place in a climate of dwindling resources, but also possibly dwindling morale? What's the secret there?
Well, dwindling resources is one of the best times that you could think about innovating and bringing in original ideas, because that's when you need them the most and people feel a sense of urgency. One of my favorite exercises is called Kill the Company. I saw this at Merck a few years ago, where Lisa Bodell at Future Think is brought in, and she says, we're going to spend the next hour or two brainstorming for ideas about how to put Merck out of business. And the energy in the room just soars because this is a totally novel task. And it's fun to think about being on the offense for once as opposed to defense. And people generate all these suggestions for how they could actually destroy Merck's business. And then they get to turn around and figure out, well, how can we protect against these threats or seize these opportunities? And I think in a down economy, or when your particular industry is struggling, this is the time when you want to figure out, how could we put ourselves out of business?
But the CEO has to be on board with that. I mean, it all starts at the top, right?
Oh, it's very hard to do this without buy-in from your senior leadership.
Right. The flip side is a company like, let's say, Airbnb, which was such an original idea, but now is a company with 2,500 people. So they have now become a big company. So how do you keep those? How do you keep that climate, that culture of originality? You said kind of hire for a different purpose, but what about beyond that? What about internally?
Yeah, a lot of leaders say, I want to keep promoting original ideas, so I'm going to assign devil's advocates to make sure that all of our assumptions get challenged and questioned. When you look at the evidence, though, devil's advocates rarely work because they don't argue forcefully enough. And other people don't really take them seriously because everyone knows, we're just playing a role, right? So I'm going to pretend to listen to you and then go right back to what I already thought. Instead of assigning a devil's advocate, you want to unearth a devil's advocate. That means finding somebody who genuinely disagrees, an authentic dissenter, and inviting that person into the conversation.
That's a time-intensive process. That's like a needle in a haystack.
It can be, and a lot of leaders say, not only is that time-consuming to find this silent minority, but what if they're wrong? Guess what? Dissenting opinions are useful even when they're wrong. So if you bring in an incorrect opinion that goes against the majority view, the group,
having that frisson there is what counts.
Exactly. The group will make a better decision because they're forced to re-examine all of their criteria and assumptions. And it also models that, again, leadership is receptive to voice.